Hello, everyone. Nature can give life, but it can also destroy everything in the blink of an eye. When Mother Nature is angry, storms, tornadoes, or tsunamis can engulf everything in their path. Do humans truly rule this world, or are we merely temporary residents before the boundless power of nature? Let's witness the terrifying moments when nature unleashes its wrath. In an instant, a cliffside along the road gave way, sending a roaring cascade of earth and rock crashing down, blanketing everything in a thick cloud of dust. Drivers and bystanders scrambled from their vehicles in a frantic rush for safety. The entire road was blocked, traffic paralyzed, and those present were left in shock by what they had just witnessed. The ground shook violently as towering cliffs in Taroko National Park, Taiwan, suddenly cracked apart, unleashing massive boulders into the depths below. The April 3rd, 2024 earthquake sent shockwaves through the entire region, toppling trees and triggering deadly landslides that cascaded down the park's narrow gorge roads. When floodwaters rose to rooftop levels and the current turned ferocious, survival hung by a thread with every passing second. In that desperate moment, firefighters from Beacon Hose Company No. 1 bravely approached the flooded rooftops, using ladders to rescue those trapped inside. Despite the pounding rain and roaring floodwaters below, they held onto each rung with unwavering determination, pulling lives back from the brink of disaster. It wasn't just a rescue, it was a powerful testament to human courage amid chaos. The sky turned pitch black as swirling storm clouds loomed ominously, signaling an impending nightmare. On May 20th, 2013, a monstrous EF5 tornado tore through Moore, Oklahoma, with winds reaching 340 kilometers per hour, 210 miles per hour. In just 40 minutes of pure terror, the twister razed homes, schools, and entire neighborhoods to the ground. A terrifying landslide swept through a residential area, engulfing everything in a sea of rocks and mud. The scene was pure chaos, with homes collapsing and torrents of muddy water rushing furiously. Nature's wrath arrived without warning, leaving behind a horrifying aftermath. Can humanity fight against these disasters, or are we left powerless before the destructive force of Mother Earth? A catastrophic landslide carried homes and vehicles into a raging torrent, leaving behind a scene of desolation and terror for those who witnessed it. The ground unexpectedly gave way, swallowing an entire street, showing the unpredictable, overwhelming power of nature. A 5.6 magnitude earthquake struck, shaking buildings and sending people into panic. In the image, a large portion of a building collapsed onto the street, creating a massive dust cloud as the walls crumbled. Moments like this remind us of the destructive power of nature and the importance of being prepared for disasters. A cargo ship battles massive waves in the open sea as dark skies signal a coming storm. Relentless waves crash against the side of the ship, threatening the safety of the crew, This scene highlights the unpredictable force of the ocean, where humans are mere specks in the face of nature's fury. In 2006, the Lusi mud volcano in Indonesia suddenly erupted, marking the beginning of the worst mud volcano disaster in history. Millions of cubic meters of hot mud surged from the earth, submerging entire villages and leaving thousands homeless. Tornadoes are extreme weather events that form when warm, moist air collides with cold air, creating a powerful vortex. With winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour, tornadoes can level homes, toss vehicles, and cause severe damage. Devastating tornadoes like those in Moore, 2013, and Joplin, 2011, have claimed hundreds of lives. A massive ash plume from Guatemala's Fuego volcano erupted violently, engulfing the sky and forcing drivers to hastily flee the area. This heart-pounding moment reminds us, when faced with nature's fury, stay far away. Don't linger to film or take photos. The Wynwood, Oklahoma tornado on May 9, 2016, was a powerful twister that swept through fields and rural areas. With fierce winds, the tornado caused significant damage, but fortunately, there were few casualties. The sight of the swirling storm over the open field served as a stark reminder of the tremendous power of nature. Due to continuous heavy rains, water from the surrounding hills flooded into Acapulco, Guerrero, Mexico, triggering a violent flash flood. Within moments, the streets turned into rivers, with cars submerged and swept away without a trace. Residents could only stand in shock, watching the surging waters race by, carrying with them the heavy fear of the destruction left in nature's wake. The terrifying tornado that struck Andover, Kansas, devastated everything in its path. Furious winds ripped apart homes, tore off roofs, and turned streets into piles of rubble. In an instant, a sturdy house was completely destroyed, leaving only an empty foundation. A catastrophic rock slide occurred right in front of kayakers on a raging river. Enormous rocks broke free from the mountain cliff, crashing down with thunderous noise, creating a cloud of dust. In that moment, nature revealed its unimaginable strength, leaving the witnesses shivering in fear of the immediate danger. In neighboring Italy, the city of Catania in Sicily faced severe flooding caused by heavy storms. Floodwaters swept away everything in their path, submerging streets and paralyzing transportation. At least 2 victims were reported, while rescue teams worked tirelessly to find missing persons amid the chaos and devastation. Terrifying moment in Illinois. A reckless driver speeds through Rochelle, coming dangerously close to a massive EF4 tornado. In a split second, he escapes disaster without being swept away, a near-death experience. Following prolonged heavy rains, a hillside near the Tista Dam in Sikkim suddenly gave way. A massive landslide swept down, carrying trees and huge rocks straight into the hydroelectric plant below. Within seconds, the once solid facility was buried under clouds of dust and debris, a stark reminder of the instability nature can unleash at any moment. A terrifying flash flood unexpectedly hit Moab, nearly sweeping a Tesla away. A dashcam captured the moment when a torrent of mud cascaded down from the cliffs, engulfing the road in seconds. In this life-threatening situation, the driver was lucky to escape, narrowly avoiding disaster as the flood threatened to devour everything in its path. A violent hailstorm pounded the plains, creating chaos as white ice stones fell heavily from the sky. One person rushed to find shelter while the ground quickly became covered with the cold, hard hailstones. Nature once again demonstrated its unpredictable might, leaving anyone who witnessed this scene in awe of its immense power. A terrifying F4 tornado swept through, completely destroying the surrounding area in the blink of an eye. The fierce, swirling winds tore apart everything in its path, turning solid homes into rubble within seconds. Debris flew in all directions, vehicles were tossed like toys, and trees were uprooted mercilessly. This brutal destruction once again proves the devastating power of nature, leaving the residents shocked and terrified. A heart-stopping video shows the destructive force of a tsunami as it suddenly struck the shore, sweeping everything away. The massive waves, hitting the California coast during flood and high surf warnings, were unstoppable. They could drag away people and vehicles in the blink of an eye. A massive dust cloud rose from the mountain range behind the residential area, signaling a severe landslide. People on the streets panicked, some looking up in disbelief, while others hurried to find ways to leave. This could be the result of the strong earthquake in Taiwan on April 3, 2024, which triggered landslides in several areas and left the population in a state of chaos. Floods are raging in Kuchai Lama, with rushing waters sweeping away everything in their path. The situation is worsening, posing a serious danger to the local residents. Hopefully, everyone is safe and taking prompt action to respond. A house in Oxford, Connecticut, was completely destroyed by a fierce flood. Fortunately, the homeowner was safe, and no one was inside at the time of the incident. This serves as a reminder to always monitor weather alerts and be prepared with an evacuation plan when natural disasters strike. A heavy hailstorm, accompanied by intense rainfall, poured down, covering the ground with thick, cold hailstones. This phenomenon can cause serious damage to trees, homes, and vehicles. A terrifying flash flood swept everything away in its path, turning the street into a muddy river. The powerful floodwaters slammed vehicles into one another, submerging the roads in chaos. This disaster is a sobering reminder of the brutal power of nature and the importance of vigilance and preparedness in the face of extreme weather conditions. Violent waves crashed onto the shore, submerging coastal buildings in a blanket of white water. The tremendous power of nature swept away everything in its path, turning the scene into chaos. This is a clear warning about the dangers of rising sea levels and the importance of building disaster prevention systems to protect both people and property. The giant waves roared in the midst of the storm, sinking ships in a fierce battle with nature. From the perspective of a small boat, this scene becomes terrifying, with waves as tall as skyscrapers crashing down. This is a harsh reminder of the danger of the sea and the importance of being fully equipped with skills and safety gear when heading out to sea. A powerful tornado swept through the neighborhood, carrying everything in its path. Roofs were ripped off, trees were uprooted, and debris scattered through the air. The destructive force of nature sent people into a panic as they desperately searched for shelter. When the storm passed, the devastation left behind served as a warning about the fragility of human beings in the face of nature, reminding us always to be prepared to protect ourselves and our families.